Maple Crest, chapter number 6. A slight tap at the door was all it took for Edward to reach for the door handle and let in General Shannon. As Shannon entered, Mr. Martin put his hand on General Shannon's chest to slow down his entry into the suite. He needed to somehow warn the general about what he was to see and hear. "General," said Mr. Martin, "please hold on 1 second, as there is something I need to tell you about this meeting." "Sure," said General Shannon. "Is everything okay with you?" he asked, pausing just inside the closed door. "Yes, everything is fine, but just a little out of the ordinary for sure," Edward continued. "We have a guest, but there is no need for alarm, I can assure you. Please come into the living room, as there is someone you need to meet," he stated as he grabbed the general's elbow to usher him into the living room. As the general entered the living room, he saw another gentleman, very tall, standing in front of the TV screens in a nice dark blue suit and tie. Very stately for sure, Martin and Shannon thought to themselves. Mr. Martin was somewhat surprised to see that the angel had decided to take on a much more human form. He was kind of taken aback by what he saw, but did not want to say too much at this point. "General Shannon, allow me to introduce myself to you. I am Dr. Alan Angel, and Mr. Martin and I have been having a nice conversation about you and, quite frankly, all that has been going on lately in the world." The angel put out his hand, and General Shannon put out his, and they had a nice warm greeting of one another. "I'm sorry if this is a shock to you, but I had to come call on Mr. Martin here, and I have a serious conversation about what you all are about to try and accomplish. Edward is very accommodating in this regard," added the angel. "I can be of great assistance in this matter, I can assure you." "Well, and a friend of Mr. Martin's is a friend of mine for sure," stated General Shannon. "Have you known Mr. Martin long?" asked the general. "All of his life, I can assure you," added the angel with a warm, human smile. "A very long time." "General, have a seat," offered Mr. Martin, "as there is something we must tell you and come clean about," he continued. We don't want you to be alarmed," he added. "What is this about?" asked General Shannon of Mr. Martin. "General, Mr. Angel here is more than just his name, but it is actually who he is," said Mr. Martin. The general looked at Mr. Martin a while with a puzzled face about him. "Edward, you are not making any sense. What is going on here?" he asked. With that, Alan Angel slowly transitioned before the two men into the 7-foot angel he was when he first walked into the room and met Mr. Martin. General Shannon moved slightly back into the sofa in some disbelief as to what he just saw. "There is nothing to fear," said the angel to General Shannon. "You are in no harm, and I am here on your and Mr. Martin's behalf to be of some help to you," he stated warmly. "I have been sent here to help you do something that you could never do on your own, but needs to be done," added the angel. "The fact that you and Mr. Martin are two fine Christian men is why I have been sent to help you," he concluded. "Who sent you?" asked General Shannon. "Certainly not anyone from this administration, to be sure," said the general smartly with a laugh. "Well, that is certainly true," said the angel. "But God knew you would need help, and he knew that if something wasn't done soon, more would not escape the wrath coming from the second coming of Christ," replied the angel. "God is determined to try one last time to get many to repent of their evil, if that is possible. He has been holding off the second coming for some time, but of course you would not know that. That is true, offered Mr. Martin. I know many who think it could be right around the corner, or some of us think that things could get much worse, which none of us want to think about. That is true, stated Shannon. It is not something that one wants to think about. The real war of wars, he added. General Shannon sat with a much calmer look on his face on the sofa, just as the three friends were having a conversation. He tapped Mr. Martin on the left knee. How long have you known about this? He asked. The angel spoke. This all happened just minutes ago, I assure you. As Mr. Martin was as surprised as you were, he added. I felt that the two of you could handle the actual seeing of an angel sent from heaven. Well, said Shannon, we have seen enough artist renderings and artwork from Europe to have some idea what some great minds thought angels might look like, he concluded. They were remarkably close from your appearance, I would say, he added. God does have his way of revealing some things to man when he wishes to. He gave man the Bible, 2 full books of 66 that have been all but too much ignored by those who consider themselves to be very smart, yet are actually very foolish men for sure, the angel added in a dejected tone. But that was and is their choice. The free will talked about all through the Bible. But that is done for now, and we are going to take one last stand for salvation if we can, the angel added. Well, what do you need from us? Asked Edward Martin. Surely there is something that we can do to help in all of this. The angel slowly transitioned back then to Mr. Alan Angel in his blue suit, and he asked the men to go over to the dinner table and begin to have some discussions about what plans they can make and who needs to be involved in the overall plan. A list was made of all the key players who needed to be brought into the discussion. Little did they know that their input was not needed, but they could choose to cooperate or not. That would be their only choice.